Hello and welcome back. This is Gom Jabbar, and this video is going to be a recent PvP game that I played. And we're just gonna, go through the game and analyze what happens. If you want a general overview of my PvP strategy and game plan, usually that's what I would go with when discussing one of these videos, but I've sort of already covered it. So what you should do is go back to my video archives on my YouTube channel here and just take a look at my guide to safe PvP. It's the title of that video, and that'll tell you everything you need to know about my game plan. This video will be just an execution of that game plan. I really haven't changed much about my PvP strategy since I made that video, but this is a cool game, so I figure I'll just show it off. We're going to speed up this opening section because it's pretty standard. My opponent was actually a random player, so I did scout after Pylon. Normally you do not do that in PvP. When I get to his base, I see everything standard and fine. I was a bit concerned throwing down my gateway at 13 because that was before I saw he was Protoss. And if he does a 12 gate and you do a 13 gate, it's actually a little harder to hold the 4 gate. But it's not really a big deal. So let's slow it down a little bit. As soon as I get him out of my base, I want to throw down the gateway, the assimilator, the pylon, a sentry in just a second. I don't quite have the gas for the sentry, so I'm just going to make this gateway first. And there it is. So this is just all part of the standard build. And at this point we can see my opponent going for a 1-gate robo build. I'm going to sneak this probe around here and try and get into his base and check him out. You really want to see what your opponent is doing and verify a 4-gate or not at around the 5-minute, 30-second mark, 5:45. If he's not 4-gating and you sort of play really defensively to a 4-gate until 5:45, you can actually get a little behind. So I get in here, I see the additional gas, the robo, and I instantly, well, I didn't see the robo, but I saw the additional gas, and I'm going to throw down my own robo as soon as possible. I just skipped these warp-ins before the robo. And I'm going to chrono boost the probes a little bit. I've ruled out the 4-gate, so I'm just going to tech as quickly as possible. Of course, the opponent's robo is a bit ahead, but that really isn't a big deal. It doesn't matter. The only time of having a faster robo is really good is when you're both going Colossus, because then a faster robo means that you have an extra Colossus. But of course, if you're not planning on going Colossus, then a faster robo is meaningless. So, making Zealots right now, getting my Twilight Council. This is all part of the game plan. Sending this probe down, he's not going to let it scout. And he's putting down his Expo here. He's doing this entirely on 3-gate Stalker and Immortals. I have to admit this is an extremely risky expansion build from my opponent. My computer's lagging a bit, but yeah, that's going to clear up. So my observer gets in here, I just see 3 gates and a robo and the Expo. Kind of unusual. So what he's going to do is, his game plan is, he's going to pressure me a little bit while he's taking his Expo. And pretty much hope, if I went blink here, I would have just destroyed him. One base blink, I mean, yeah, he only had 1 immortal. I would have crushed that army there, he couldn't have run, game would have ended. But we're ignoring that, because I'm going for charge. And he is going for Colossus. And of course I do see the Colossus. Anytime I see this Robotics Bay in a PvP, I get really happy, and it's essentially a free win. We're going to see that in this game. You can actually be quite economically behind and still just win, because Colossus tech in PvP, it simply isn't good against Charge Lot, Archons, and Immortals. We'll see that. That is the game plan that I'm going to be doing here. And I'm also getting my Forge now that I've expanded. I want those attack upgrades. So he is in fact getting Colossus. He's still making lots of probes when he's not getting supply blocks. want to try and snipe down his observer here. Almost gonna get it. No, I didn't get it. And you gotta make more gateways. For this style, you need a ton of gateways. And you can see my opponent making a second Robo Bay, still making Colossus. This is fantastic. I'm quite happy with this. So he has quite a bit of map control here. I don't really need map control at the moment. But I want you to notice that if I attacked this army with this army, I would win. And at this point, I'm just making Immortals, Zealots, and Archons. And I want to take my third pretty quickly here, in fact. So there is my weapons level 1. My opponent's doing the same. Everything's pretty standard here. Making another observer. You don't really want to skimp on the observers. If he makes a sudden DT switch and you don't have an observer with your army, you can be pretty deadly. So that's something you want to do. More Archons. Let me just explain the purpose of this army. The charge lots beat virtually everything except other Zealots, and the Archons beat Zealots because they have incredibly good splash damage versus biological. The Immortals are there to counter Colossus as well as Stalkers, because a large number of Blink Stalkers with some terrain abuse can be a little tricky to deal with, but you know, the Immortals will help deal with that quite a bit. So he will get quite a bunch of probes and making counter, and I'm going to slow down just a bit. So he does have a bunch of Colossus. He's microing them pretty well, but his Stalkers are just going to die. And I have to take a group of my Stalkers and Immortals and try and focus fire this Colossus. And I clean up that army fairly well. Now if we look at the probe counts, I'm actually substantially behind, but it's not a big deal. It sounds like it's a big deal because this is an economy-based RTS, but it's not, because this is a hugely strategic advantage for me. If you are a bit unconvinced that Zealot-Archon Immortal beats giant Colossus armies, then you're going to have to watch this game in detail, because this is exactly what happens. My opponent does have his third base now. He's definitely not out of it. And he's actually still ahead in supply. A lot of that is probes. He is 20 supply ahead in probes. So, you know, the army value, of course, I'm quite far ahead. But it's tough for me to totally kill him because of this high ground positioning and his main. So you have to engage his army in big open fields. You just have to play defensive and expand a lot. And he gets a nice little warp in here with a Zealot. We got like 2 probes, maybe a few more. But here come the Zealots. And there's my weapons 2 coming up. I have 1-1 researched. And I'm checking for his third base right here, but he actually doesn't have it yet. Here comes another engagement. I have 3 Immortals. 3 Immortals against like any number of Stalkers is kind of unfair in the Immortals' favor. They're ridiculous. And Archons take a ton of shots from Colossi to kill. So yeah, at this point, his army just dies, and I kill a bunch of Colossus. And I'm still way ahead. And I still see that I don't think he has a third. He does, in fact, but I think that he doesn't, so I'm just sort of waiting, biding my time here. Let's speed it up a little bit more. I'm preparing to take a 4th base now. I will see the 4th base of the 3rd base of him, so I'm just going to go kill it. No big deal. Arguably, I could have only sent a small pack of Zealots here and just killed it that way, but you know what? Doesn't really matter. He is going to counterattack, which is a good decision. And I run the probes away. He does have a lot of stalkers, but it's not really a big deal. Because this army is going to get obliterated. Check it out. The Archons do not die. The Zealots just chew everything up. I target fire from Colossus with some of my units, not all of them. And I kill it, and all the stuff dies again. I've got my 4th base up. He did kill this base, but, you know, whatever. I didn't need it anyway. I guess it would have been nice to have, but it's gone now. Forever. And now I'm just going to check for more of his bases. We pretty much traded bases here, but I killed his army, so I am ahead. And still speeding up a little bit. He has a base down here now. He has virtually no units. And I'm going to get in here. Try and take out as much stuff as I can. And I am just going to crush through his army yet again, even though he's on the ramp. So that was not even close. And pretty much throughout the entire game I had less economy. It didn't even matter. So this is exactly what you want to do when you're going Zealot-Archon Immortal. And you'll beat every other strategy except for someone else doing the same strategy as you. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Pretty simple game, but it's been a while since I showed a PvP. So here is what I've been doing. Bye.